in the woods. My phone's on airplane mode, and I'm relatively far from EMF. I'm not actually hiding out here from it, but I have been writing about it a lot the last few days, and reading about it and talking to various AIs about it, and looking at summarizing of good quality science about it. And I've not changed my tune, and not out of stubbornness, not out of kind of belligerence or dogma, because, and you can see this for yourself, the evidence hasn't changed. If anything, it's mounted that it is harmful to us. It is harmful to us in multiple ways, and you don't even need to see the science, which is there, and I can put links to I think that there's like 150 peer-reviewed papers that show that microwave radiation from our phones and wireless devices causes biological disturbance in various ways, DNA damage, etc. In 2018, this big study that took 10 years to come out from the American National Toxicology Program, the NTP study, $25 million it cost. It's still, I think, the biggest study into cell phone radiation that we've ever done, that humanity's ever done. And it blew me away at the time, and it still does. And talking to Grok about it and ChatGPT about it, it still does still, because they found clear evidence, this big study, this big, right kind of from the heart of the establishment study, found clear evidence of tumours in the hearts of male rats at the highest doses, and some evidence at lower doses. And it's like, hang on a minute, how can we not ignore this? How come we're giving cell phones to our children and tablets to our children when, and this is nearly 10 years ago, when this evidence is here? And there was another study from I think it's the Rizzoli Italian Institute that found the same, but I think that was non-gender specific when it came to the rats, and it got completely brushed under the carpet as a piece of clear scientific evidence of harm. And even today, people watching this are probably just going to think it's nonsense, but you can very easily now go and see for yourself that there is a lot of science suggesting this. I think also, moreover, we should think about the fact that it is not just the science that suggests it, it's the philosophy. So every cell in our body is this vastly complex biochemical system, every cell. And these cells interact with their environment and other cells, etc. And that's also done through bioelectrical processes, subsystems. And if we look at our nervous system, that's electric. Our brain, our thoughts, that's electric. Our hearts, that's electric. Our senses, our sight, our touch, our smell, it's all electric at tiny, tiny, tiny voltages. And every organ to some degree involves as a fundamental thing. And many of our organs, like the liver and kidneys, focus on these gradients of charge in between cells, or in cells, or between cells and the outside, and that is an electric process. So given that we are electric beings, that can't be denied. And given that the voltages are tiny, that can't be denied. If you then put right next to, let's say, the heart, a source of energy that is 1,000,000 times higher than it was than could be possible 100 years ago, or sorry, till about 1860, I think, Maxwell and all of that stuff. So 100 and 200 years ago, 180 years ago. So it is, it's never happened before, and so we should expect that if we were to do this, there would be some interference. It's not crazy to think that putting a source of electricity, of electromagnetic radiation, next to a system that, or next to countless systems that use that and depend on that, would cause upset. It's like, imagine you had a crowd of people whispering as quietly as humanly possible, and then you have people with foghorns and loudspeakers. It's like that, but a million times more. That's just the science. And so we should expect this to be harming us. And it's not just harming us in terms of our cells by the disturbance of heat, which is what all these studies are. When they have all these SAR, these, I think, specific absorption ratio, that's how much does the phone heat the skull when it's close to the head. And that, I don't think people who understand this, scientists who understand this, I don't think they think that's what's causing the problems, the undeniable problems. What's causing it is the frequency of the energy, the frequency, and the power of the energy. But it's not about the heating. It's about the frequency of the microwave radiation, the way it's pulsing, the way that it's interfering with our systems at that level. I don't understand how that is, but it is clear that it does, and we should expect it to. We know that it happens in things like eyes and senses and our nervous system. So we should expect for there to be some disturbance if we're putting these massive non-native sources of energy close to us. I think the damage it does can be mitigated significantly. I think the only way you could possibly reduce it totally is to go and hide out in the woods somewhere, where there's no pylons, nothing, no 5G towers. That's ridiculous and unrealistic in this modern world. And it's to say, I'm going to get rid of my phone again. We're too addicted, too dependent on them. It's just not going to happen. So we're left with, how can we mitigate the effects of our the negative effects of these EMF transmitters? One way is use airplane mode as much as possible. I've been doing this for probably the best part of 2 decades now. I used to at one time sleep with my BlackBerry under my pillow playing podcasts or something. Now I think that's completely stupid in so many ways. So I think the main thing to remember is the inverse square law, which is that the greater the distance, the greater the drop-off of the power of the device. So if you're at 10 centimeters, it's going to 98% of it, of the power of that phone with the potential to harm you, the understood kind of scientific potential to harm you, 98% of it has dropped off. If you've got it 1 centimeter, about 90% of it has dropped off. So it drops off really quickly. And that is why it's sitting with an iPad in your belly. And I know people who do this, and I probably do it myself. I think that's just nuts. I think, at least put a pillow there, so that distance is causing a big drop off in what's going direct into your body otherwise. And it's not living in fear and whinging and all of that stuff. It's about, there's very little we can change in the world. We live in a world that is quite negative, fundamentally. All is suffering and all of that. And one of the few things we can change is our toxic load. And that's not just about, fragrances and all that stuff. It's about, I think, the EMF. We can reduce this toxic electricity significantly. We can't do anything about our neighbour's Wi-Fi, but it's, I think, the proximity is where, because of the inverse square law, the proximity is where the damage is done. Another thing I do, and I've been doing now for about a year, Not really just for reasons of EMF, but for reasons of the screen. I think screens are damaging to us in their own right. I think they're damaging to our eyesight. I think they're probably damaging to us in a kind of mental health sense as well. You know, the idea of this beauty that I'm sitting in now compared to sitting and staring at a screen. Again, I think that's pretty undeniable. There's a difference to it. So another thing I do to minimize this is this thing I do called odd houring, which is where I only, with a few exceptions, I only go on a screen, be that TV, iPad, anything, iPhone, if the hour is odd. So like, you know, 1 o'clock, 25 past 1 is fine. 25 past 2 is not fine. I have to wait, and it's changed my life in a really positive way. So I think knowing that distance is your friend and keeping your phone away from you for the EMF reasons, for the eyesight reasons. I think also with sticky Velcro, you can stick your phones and iPads all over the place and have it so you're also standing. That's what I do. I have it outside my bedroom so I can stand up rather than just sit on it. But that kind of, I guess that does give you some kind of reduction in EMF too. Yeah, I don't think it's, as I said, it's not something to whinge and worry about. It's something to fight and kind of enjoy the fight and not be a sucker to it, I think. When I see people walking around with their phones in their pockets, and I'm assuming they're not on airplane mode, and I just think that's just not good for you. How on earth can that possibly be good for you? I used to kind of think, oh, maybe I should say something, and probably I have done in the past, but no, it's unto each their own and all that. I guess the best you can do is make a silly YouTube video about it, but here we are. Right, I'm going to go with a fly on my nose and enjoy the woods.